It feels very eerie, Bev, really. It feels like a medieval city. You can't go out, no one's coming in. Schools are closed, universities are closed, cinemas, museums, galleries. It feels almost unthinkable, almost like end times, really. You walk down the main roads and there are no cars. Italy's a place that tends to be quite noisy and touchy-feely, and I saw yesterday someone walking around with a tape measure keeping people at distance. So it feels very strange.
And as you say, it is such a lively, affable place, normally Italy, such a tourist destination. How much preparation time did you all get, to get to the supermarket to prepare for this kind of lockdown?
Well, that's a good question, because the emergency decree was leaked on Saturday. So originally it was only about a quarter of the country that was going to be in quarantine. So Lombardy, Emilia-Romagna and the Veneto, the sort of the industrial heartlands, the richest, most important economical places in Italy. That was leaked, which meant that tens of thousands of people jumped in their cars, got on trains and buses to head home to a place in the centre and south of Italy, which is, of course, the opposite of the intended effects of this emergency decree. It was leaked. We knew it was coming. We woke up on Sunday morning to discover that, again, the children were going to have 4 weeks off school. And then last night, it was in the offing. The whole country was announced that it was in lockdown. So no weddings, no funerals, no church services. Even, this is in Italy, even Serie A football matches have been cancelled for a month.
That must be almost unthinkable for people. And tell me, can you go to the supermarket? Can you go for a short walk? What are you able to do?
You can go to the supermarket as normal. There's been sort of panic buying, as I think there has been in Australia, and there certainly has been in Britain. It's slightly odd because all the doors are wide open to allow air to circulate. Anyone working there has masks. The normal sort of barging someone out the way to get to the shelves isn't happening. But they're open as normal. Quite a lot of shops are giving you a ticket so that outside the shop, so there's an orderly queue outside in the air. You can go for a walk, you can go for a bike ride, but you're not allowed outside the city area, if you like.
Of course, Italians are well known too for bucking the rules, and I understand there's something called Fabrizia, and the Prime Minister has warned against that. What is that?
Well, I'm afraid it's one of those stereotypes about Italians that, like a lot of stereotypes, is a bit unfair but has a bit of truth as well. It basically means slyness or cunning, and it really means bending or avoiding the rules. And that's partly what I think people thought was happening on Saturday evening when lots of people tried to escape the quarantine area. I think actually here there's a sense that Italians are being far more sensible than most other European countries. We are here making great sacrifices and understand why, and can't quite understand when we look at other countries. Just over the weekend there were 3,000 people in Paris gathered dressed as Smurfs to beat the world record of Smurf gatherings, and we're looking at that thinking, we're taking it very seriously in Italy. Other countries aren't. So I think actually, Italy feels it's doing what's needed, and are looking at places like Britain, scratching their heads, and all the graphs suggest that Britain and France and Germany are going to be exactly where Italy is in about 10 days' time.
Indeed, as it kind of the natural flow on continues. It's interesting, the Italian government seems to have been very open with the information. Do you think that's helped people get on board?
Yeah, I think it has. The other thing the Italians have done, which other European countries haven't, is they've tested huge amounts of people. By the middle of last week, the World Health Organization suggested that Italy had tested 26,000 people, not just those who were showing symptoms, but those who've been in contact with those who were infected. France, by that time, had only tested 1,000. So I think partly it's because they've tested many more people. I think there are a lot of other issues that make Italy sort of perhaps more susceptible and in some ways less susceptible to this. You know, it's a less mobile society, so there's not that sort of frenetic herring around the country that you might have in France and Germany. A lot of people live where they were born and they die where they were born. So it's a much more sort of sedentary, family-based society.
Are people panicking about the impact economically?
Yes, they are, because, as you know, Bev, Italy's economy has been bouncing along the bottom for the last 20 years. You know, the growth forecast for 2020 is 0.2%. The percentage of people work in the tourist industry is 6%, and that's going to be very hard hit by this lockdown.
Tobias, we wish you well, and let's hope it is over very, very soon. Thanks very much for joining us.